Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I want to talk about the saltwater drop shot rig. The surf rig they call it. They call it a double drop rig. It's my drop shot. Also a little theory behind it. And talk to you about why I make my own rigs. As you can tell, I've got tons of stuff here. Alright, this is a commercial rig. It costs a couple bucks. You can buy them at Walmart, you can buy them at a tackle shop, you can buy them just about anywhere. This particular one is wire. I thought I had one that was with mono on it, because that's the ones I use, but I don't have one. But it's all exactly the same thing. As you can tell, it's pretty inexpensive. The swivel is rated at about, this particular one is probably rated at about 80 pounds. The mono ones I think are rated at 60. This may be 100. No, I think these are, yeah, I think this is 60. This is 60 or 80. These swivels, I think they're number 7. They're rated at about 65 pounds, 70 pounds. This wire, probably the heaviest part of it is probably what, I don't know what it's rated at. It's pretty tough. And then it's clipped, okay, and then you got the bottom. Now these clips, I'm pretty sure that these are rated about 60, 70 pounds. Hard to believe, but yeah. And so it's pretty easy. There's not a whole lot to it. You make a loop and a crimp with a swivel. You put a bead, put a swivel, put a bead, crimp, and work your way down. Now, here's where the science comes in. When you're doing a double drop rig, for it to cast, you don't want it to tangle. So you have to make these leads shorter than halfway. So this way when it's flying, they're not going to do this and get caught and stuff like that and tangle. Okay, this thing will set like this in the water. And you're covering a couple different things of water. You can drop it down like so, and you can be right on, like a little bit. You can be right on the bottom and have one up a little bit higher in the water column. Now, on the mono one, it's more prevalent than it is on the wire. But if you see here, I don't know, hopefully I won't be able to get it in there. To ensure that there's proper movement so it doesn't tangle and wrap around itself and everything, they have the swivel loops. And so basically all these are just to keep it from sliding over the end of the wire. That's fine and dandy, except when you're if you're throwing this thing out and you plan on using this for a long period of time, especially if you're using mono. I mean, on a wire lasts a long time. But the mono will actually wear in here from the rubbing, and then you add a little sand from the surf and things like that, and it'll grind into that and it'll weaken that point. So this way you get a hit, you get pulled, and see, look at that, you pulled it loose. And this is wire. See? That's a wire one. Mine doesn't do that. This is mine. I don't fish double drops that often. I do a single drop for a lot of reasons. But here's the deal. And here's also the reason why I build my own. A lot of people come back and say, oh, you build your own because they're cheaper. No, believe me, getting these components, and even if I get them at a quantity by 1,000 at a time, the overall cost per unit is probably 3 times more than it is for me to go to Walmart and buy it. But we see what happens. And this one has never hit the water, by the way. So the first thing is, you'll notice that I'm using a 1/0 swivel, which is like 100-something pound test, which is not the reason why I got it, but it's because of the size of the ring. The size of the ring, this ring actually is riding on the plastic. These two plastic pieces are put together and are captured, and as you can see, it's free to go in the current and move around so it won't tangle. And but all the abrasion is on the plastic portion, and therefore the line is kept intact. I also use a cross-lock snap because it's a stronger snap. It also, the taper end of it versus the rounded end makes it a lot better and more continuous for using a circle hook. If you use a rounded end, this can actually cause enough of a push away that the circle won't connect properly, especially if you're using like a number 1 or 1/0 hook. I use a large snap on the bottom, which is actually much larger than the one that is on there, and that's to facilitate using bank sinkers, using sinkers both that you have the wire eyelet and have the lead eyelet. Okay, this one here is a surf rig, and the reason for that is so that it can handle a lot of movement both ways. Because in the surf, when it's sitting like this, it will move back and forth. One of the other benefits of a single rig is I can use a longer leader. I don't have to worry about it tangling in the middle. I just have to make sure that it's short enough that it's not going to catch the bottom over here during a cast. Normally in a cast it goes out like this, and this guy will trail. So what will happen is that there's all kinds of movement in here, and that bait will move around with the current and everything that's going on. It'll work good in what we call a directional current, which would be like in the bay or in the channels, where when the tide's going in, the current's moving one way, when the tide's going out, of course, the current's moving the other way. That doesn't happen in the surf. In the surf, it's a washing machine effect. And that's where it's the hardest on these. This one here, if somebody would buy this one as a double rig, I'd probably have to ask about $4 or $5, just for the cost of the components. Oh, by the way, this is 80-pound test line, which is maybe a little bit heavier than it should be, but I want it that way because I want it to be able to last a long time. There's a couple people that I know that I fish with, or used to fish with, I haven't been fishing in a while, that I would take, and after they've used it for a few times, they'll bring it back, and all of this will be intact. But this guy will be chewed up from crabs and stuff like that. So we'll just replace this leader part, and I'll still use all the parts. This guy here is actually a roller swivel. So it holds very well, holds up to sand getting in it and stuff like that, and stays free for a long time. Doesn't rust. It's a coated stainless steel. So it's real good for saltwater. Now, the reason why to me, this is actually kind of like an overkill, because just about everything that I catch is usually less than 50 pounds. If it's over 50 pounds with mono, it's probably a toothy critter, and they're going to bite through the leader anyway. So here is one that I've been making recently, which would probably cost about $2. You'll notice this one's a little shorter too. The reason why I did that is just because of where I'm fishing with it. Okay, I'm using, this is 80-pound test line. This is 80-pound test Andy Premium, and this is 80-pound test Andy Monster, I think is the name of it. And I'm using Monster for the leaders because it's a little bit more flexible. Now, I eliminated the cost of these two. These things actually, I think I got off of. You can get them on eBay. or other places, and they come like this. It's a swivel with little clip, and the swivel got this bead on it. And you probably aren't going to be able to see this, but the plastic goes all the way through. So it's just like there's no metal contact at all. So we can eliminate the two beads. The swivels that I'm using, I don't know what size they are. They're probably a number 6. No, they're probably a number, I don't know. They're small. I got them off of eBay. All this stuff come off of eBay. But these little swivels are rated at 50 pounds. They're stainless steel and they're bearing swivels. I have one in my bag somewhere that I have fished for almost 2 years since I started using these, and before I got sick. And it's still working. There's no rust. It's still free. I got to go in there and squirt them a little bit with like Real Magic or something to get the gunk out of them every once in a while. But they work fine. Then all it's a matter of is putting a crimp on each side. I can actually have a little bit more playroom instead of worrying about it being tight, and ensuring that it, works around real good. This one here, I didn't have any at the time, but I'm using a smaller clip here. This one here is probably about 30 or 40 pounds, I think. And they came off of here. And I'm using those on a hook, and I've had pretty good luck with them with like a 1/0 or bigger. Although I've got some now that are it's like a coleslaw clamp, but it's got the tapered end in them. And when I start making some more of these, I'm going to go ahead and use those on them for when I'm using circle hooks. This red bead is a killer for pompano. It is, for some reason, it's better if it's orange, but you put a red bead on there, and it has a big effect in catchability. Catchability, is that a word? This one also, I use only 1 ounce pyramids on them. This is why I've got the smaller hook on it. But as you can see, the most important thing when you're working in the surf is ensuring that you've got this freedom to move, and you've got freedom for this to move, so that this way when you're reeling it in, no matter what kind of reel you're using, you can eliminate as much line twist as you possibly can. Hopefully, we were able to see all that and kind of get a little bit better understanding of why and how I build my rigs, at least my surf rigs. Although I do use these in, like in the bayous and things like that. But in the bayous, I find myself, in the bays, I find that I tend to tie rigs a lot more, just because it's easier to do when you're on the fly. But that's about it. Hope you found that interesting and educational. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or you think I'm full of bull, go ahead and leave it down on the description below. And y'all have a nice day. On a previous video, I talked about tying my own drop rig. And there's some benefits to doing this. 1, it's cheaper. 2, you can do it on the fly. 3, you can actually do this using the line off the spool. Although, if you're using braid, you're probably better off not to. There's benefits to that and there aren't, and let's go ahead and talk about it. If this particular tie also, I only use when it's a monodirectional current. In other words, you got the in-time tie going one way, outgoing tie going the other way, or something like that. If you're in the surf, this thing tangles too bad. It also gives you a lot of possibilities. You can tie this as a double rig using the same technique, just moving up and tying higher. But we're going to do it as a single rig just because that's what I normally do. I like to tie these a little longer and I like to do swivel, and I'll show you how I set my main line up when I'm using these. Like right now in the bayou, this time of year, crabs are bad. There's a lot of garbage floating around, so I'll tie like this. If I go to a place that's really snaggy, I will also tie like this. This way I lose less stuff. It's a little bit cheaper to fish. When you think about setting up one of those rigs, cost you, let's say, $1 a piece, and you lose 10 of them, you go fishing there 2 or 3 days, you're out 30, 40 bucks. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure about how much I want it to sit off the bottom. Of course, it's going to be on an angle. And then I'm going to make a loop. Think about how long do I want my hook trace to be. Okay, so this is going to sit about yay, and this is going to be about yay. Okay? You take it, and you make a loop. You pinch and hold the loop. You wrap the line, well, you can wrap the line around it 4 times and then run it through. I don't do that. Baloney. Take it, see where it's crossed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Take that loop and shove it through that hole and get it before it unwinds. And then pull it tight. Okay? Now I've got my leader. Okay? So it's considerably shorter than when I originally started, but not much. Alright? Now, what's next? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my clip on, just using a polymer knot, nothing special, for the weight. Now the weight, you can actually eliminate this by just tying a weight on it, but I like the ability that if this thing actually does last for a while, and I have to change either the type of weight or the amount of weight on it, I want to have that option. So I put a clamp on. These clamps they're cheap. And then we cut the tag off. The top part is pretty simple too. I'm going to bring it up and I want it a little bit so it doesn't tag, about like that. The top part, once again, is taking a loop, putting a loop in it. I go around 1, 2, 3, 4, clip on, pull it through, and pull it tight. Now, this is where I'm either going to tie onto the main line, or I'm going to connect a swivel or something. If I was tying this for somebody and they didn't have it, I would tie a swivel onto it. There we go. Okay. Now we take a hook. Depending on the weight of the line, is going to govern. A lot of it depends on what type of hook you use. The eye has to be big enough for that to pass through. Good. So, like a 10110 hook, usually a 20-pound piece of 20-pound test line will pass through it, doubled over. If you're doing 30-pound, you have to go into something with a little bit bigger eyes. These are from Academy. They're actually a circle hook, but they're more of a J style, and they got a really nice eye on it. And I'm able to go up to 30-pound with this to tie this rig. And then we go in. This one won't fit. No. Then we're going to thread this through. Just two choice words. Okay? And we're just going to do an overhand. We're going to come back, which is nothing more than a polymer. And most probably none of the camera saw me tying that. Set it tight. Okay. Now, here's a couple of things. If you did want that leader longer, you can take and you can cut that. It's not cut. Alright, there it is. You can cut that. And when the line is strutted out and tie your line on it. But I prefer to double line it. If you don't like the way that looks, and you want to keep these closer together, which I don't care, although it will have a tendency to catch weeds and stuff like that if you got weeds floating around. You just put an overhand knot in it. One or two of them, however it needs to hold it together. And there it is. Dropper rig. Now, when or how do I use these? If I'm in a snaggy location, I will use one of these in a lighter pound test than my main line. This way, if I get snagged, I can yank on it, and even if I pop the whole thing, if it's a hook and it breaks up here, I lose the tackle, or I'll get broken, I'll get cut loose. There are a lot of times that I lose either just the weight. Most of the time I end up losing just the hook, and the weight and everything else comes up. The double line like this works real nice in crabby areas. I've actually brought in sharks with this. Small sharks, very small sharks, very, very, very small sharks. 2C animals, stuff like that. Because there are times, you come back and you'll be missing one line, but the other one will hold. And so that's the way that is. Now, how do I set my main line up? And this is something that people who do drop shot rigs of any kind might be interested in. Bass fishing, saltwater fishing, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's consider. Let's just pretend. Let's say that this is your main line coming in. Okay. What I'm going to do, and then you can probably tell I was really prepared to do this part of this video. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put a stop on it. Run that stop in. Maybe. Put it up there. And then I'm going to put a bead on it. I'm using these beads because they're easy to see. Okay. So I'm going to put a couple of beads on it. I usually do 4. Then I'll either tie a direct swivel or a swivel with a clip. I usually use a clip, and I hardly ever open those clips. It's just someplace to tie onto, and I do that with a Palomar. Just like that. Like that. Now I'll take those beads, I'll put them down, I'll bring that stop down just a little bit. About like that. Now,